How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Bill's Sports and Wrestling channel. Well, it's playoff time both in the NHL and the NBA. Baseball season is just underway. For all of you, my fellow Canucks out there here in Canada, CFL season, with their new rule changes, is close to getting underway in a couple months as well. So again, it's a good time to be a sports fan. And especially playoff time when both the NBA and the NHL are going at the same time. And in baseball, you get the feel of where teams might be going for the rest of the year. But again, you can tell it's still way too early. Yeah, I hope it's way too early. Anyway, yes, my team's problems aside, let's start with playoff talk here at the NHL. I'm really loving the Stanley Cup playoffs so far. Things have been incredible. Let's go over some of the happenings of last night occurring during the Stanley Cup playoffs. Again, all these series that took place last night, all the games that took place last night, their series are tied at 2. These Stanley Cup playoffs are very fun to watch. First off, we'll start with Boston and Carolina. Now, yeah, as you can tell, you can probably tell I'm not a big Bruins fan, even if I do support other teams from Boston. No, granted, they've looked very sharp in the last 2 games. I know Brenda Moore's upset about that missed call, but at the same time, would it have made a difference? I don't know. We'll never know now. That's the beauty of playoff hockey. But yes, the Bruins have looked really sharp. I don't know. This is going to start to look like a homer series to me, where everybody's just going to win games at home, which will obviously benefit Carolina. But I can see this going the full 7 games, regardless of who wins where. And it's been some pretty decent hockey from what I've seen so far in this series. Also, St. Louis and Minnesota. Now, I knew this was going to be the sleeper series of the playoffs because I knew the Wild were a much bigger contender the moment that they got Marc-Andre Fleury as their goaltender. Again, goaltenders with vast playoff experiences pay off. We're seeing that in the LA series, which I'm going to get to in a second. But yes, St. Louis and Minnesota so far have been very competitive, very just, smooth playoff hockey. And that's what I like about this series, too, in the couple games I've seen. It's been incredible to watch the Blues because, again, everybody remembers that improbable run that they made in 2019, and they still have a lot of players from that team left, of course, including their, commander there, Ryan O'Reilly. So I knew this series was going to be pretty tight, especially now with Fleury and net for the Wild. Again, it's going to make a huge, huge bit of difference here if they can pull this series off. I think he will be the difference maker. Toronto and Tampa Bay. Oh, boy. This has been one of the most unexpected turns in the playoffs so far. Not because the series is currently tied at 2-2, but because every single game has been one-sided. Each team has taken one game on the other's home ice. Now, I actually expected this series to be a lot more close-knit and tight. Now, I actually predicted the Leafs I predicted this about 2 months ago, that the Leafs will actually win a playoff series this year. It's still hard to say, but again, tied at 2-2, anything can happen, and the fact that all games have been one-sided, everybody's winning everywhere, it's hard to say. This has actually been quite an unexpected turn of events, but regardless, has made for some high anticipation of what's ahead. Edmonton and LA. Now, I knew this was going to be a tight series, too. I think a lot of people have already written off Edmonton. Last night, Jonathan Quick showed why he does have 2 Stanley Cup rings. That was the guy that we watched 10 years ago, and he looked superb in that at the age, I think he's almost 36 now. I'm pretty sure he's definitely 35. But either way, Jonathan Quick, again, just unbelievable playoff goaltender. I know it's been a little while since he's had some playoff time, but still. And Dustin Brown, you can see he's hungry to get one last championship before he packs it in. It's good to see this LA team, even without Drew Doughty, going full throttle as they can. But again, at the same time, I would love to see Edmonton just finally break out and at least win a playoff series. Connor McDavid has been playing well. Maybe they say not at his level that he should be playing, but at the same time, I don't think he's playing overly bad. I think Edmonton's big guns shine in both games 2 and 3 in game 1. And again, this series has also been kind of one-sided in games, but except for game 1, which was really exciting until that gaffe by Mike Smith. But either way, again, it's hard to say who's going to win this series. That's what I love about these playoffs so far. It's really hard to call a clear-cut winner. But the one series that's not hard to call a clear-cut winner is the Avalanche and the Predators. Again, game 4 taking place tonight. The Avalanche, other than the Panthers, have been the most dominant regular season team, in my opinion, in the NHL. McKinnon doing his thing. Kadri has become so disciplined since coming to Colorado. Far cry from what he was in Toronto, thank goodness. So, yeah, I expect the Avalanche I can see Nashville still taking one game at home tonight, but either way, this series is going to be wrapped up by Game 5 regardless. So either tonight or Game 5, the series is over. Dallas and Calgary. Calgary has looked absolutely wretched in the last couple games. Their big guns are not coming up to play at all. Again, playoff experience goes a long way. Again, Dallas, you've got to keep in mind, they were just in the Cup 2 years ago. I know, because it was the COVID Cup, so I know some people kind of watched that out of their memories a little bit. Other than Tampa Bay winning, nobody really knows what happened that year, it seems, but Dallas was there, and they still have a lot of players from that team, so I think that's what's killing Calgary right now, too. Another unexpected turn of events, Florida and Washington. This is a huge letdown. The Florida Panthers, I don't know what's going on there, and I have a soft spot for them due to Joe Thornton. Would love to see him get a Stanley Cup because I don't think he has much time left, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if he packs in after this year regardless. But this has been a huge disappointment on the Florida Panthers' part. They look great in game 2, and I don't know, just something's just not there. They're not that dominant force, and they got absolutely dummied by Washington in game 3. But again, there's some playoff experience on that team still, obviously with Ovi himself. But still, I just think that the Panthers could be outmatched here. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose the series in 6. All right, New York and Pittsburgh. Can I just say, I can't stand the New York Rangers. They play like a bunch of bitches. I will say that right now. They play like an absolute bunch of bitches. And that's the thing, maybe I'm biased because Pittsburgh is my second favorite team. But still, I just never liked the way the Rangers have played in the last several years. I remember growing up, I actually kind of liked the Rangers. Messier, Brian Leetch, and Kovalev, and a lot of those guys. But I don't know, just something about them. I mean, yes, I will admit, in Game 1, there was a lot of missed calls that the referees should have called on Pittsburgh. But there was also, on the other side, a lot of missed calls on the Rangers' end of things, too, especially that hit on Letang. But really, I can't nitpick too much because it's playoff hockey and things are going to be missed. That's the thing. Referees are a little more lenient in playoff hockey, especially in overtime. You notice there's not a great deal of penalties called in overtime. I also think that's attributed to teams trying their hardest not to make mistakes and take stupid penalties. But at the same time, too, the New York Rangers, and now, oh God, their fans are hilarious on Twitter. Their fans are hilarious, whining about the officiating in Game 1, just completely and utterly bawling their eyes out almost. Game 3, where Pittsburgh won 7-4 with their very highly inexperienced goaltender in net, which, again, this is why sadly I don't think the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to get very far, even if they do get past the Rangers here. But kudos to this kid. He's doing what he can in there under a high-pressure situation. Again, you can literally count on one hand how many rookie goaltenders have won the Stanley Cup, especially in the last post-expansion era. You look at Ken Dryden and Patrick Waugh, Cam Ward of the Carolina Hurricanes back in 2006. Ron Hextall made it to the Cup in 1987 as a rookie, but still, it's it's not really a high possibility. I don't think that Pittsburgh could get to the finals as much as I'd love to see it. But either way, I would love to see them get past the Rangers, simply because I just can't stand this Rangers team, despite the talent they have. They do have an immense group of talent. I just don't like them. But hey, they may shut me up, and knowing my luck, they probably will. So anyway, that's the Stanley Cup playoffs right now. Again, very exciting stuff in the first round. I'm really enjoying it. Well, that's going to do it for today's sports chat. I'll be back tomorrow talking a little bit more about hockey, as well as the NBA playoffs, actually, and the start of the Major League Baseball season, what I think so far. And, well, again, what I think so far is not very good, at least my end, but there's a lot of positives to talk about. So until then, I'll see you next time. Follow me on social media, BillChase33 on Twitter and Instagram. Take care, everybody.